Welcome to your Saga Oasis. Three steps to control anger. Stop venting anger towards others. We often find that our mood is easily influenced by the events around us, partly because in the past, we rarely paid attention to managing and mastering our own moods. Lacking this skill, our moods become too dependent on circumstances, fluctuating with each change in life. When we encounter conveniences, joy, or receive compliments, our mood tends to swing. Although these experiences provide comfort, they are actually expressions of an unstable mood. This mood is always in a state of expectation, craving more recognition and success. Initially, we might feel happy and comfortable, but in the end, this instability only leaves us feeling empty, lonely, and even addicted to it. This is illustrated by the fact that, after a fun party with friends filled with laughter and singing, despite not wanting the meeting to end on the way home, we feel lonely and sad, wondering why such great joy fades so quickly. Similarly, when faced with unexpected situations, challenges, or unkind words and actions, our mood also gets disturbed. This instability in our emotions swings with external challenges. We become anxious, wishing for difficulties to pass quickly so we can find peace again. This proves that our sense of peace or unrest is mainly influenced by external factors, meaning, when we feel at peace, it might be because we're not facing any challenges. Living in favorable circumstances, this peace should be guarded, as it's always at risk of being upset by unexpected changes from the outside. The root of anger. We often live chasing after circumstances and rarely take time to nurture our souls. Therefore, a fragile inner self is the root cause of anger. When anger erupts, we quickly direct our attention to the source of our irritation to retaliate, believing that only by saying or doing something can our anger be relieved. This is known as releasing anger energy outward. Although this may provide temporary relief, ultimately, this anger energy returns to us, making the anger deeper and stronger. Even after expressing anger through words or actions, the real anger isn't resolved, but lies deeper within, waiting for a moment to flare up again. Some people attempt to alleviate their anger by eating, but the anger returns after they finish their meal. They continuously dwell on and get angry about everything, unable to control it. When our consciousness isn't stable, it becomes clouded, leading us to misinterpret others' behaviors and gestures. On the contrary, someone with a strong consciousness sees these actions as completely normal, with no issue at all. But when our consciousness is clouded, we start to think that the other person's words and actions may be against us, wanting to undermine or even harm us, leading us to heighten our defenses and protect ourselves. We can experience a wide range of emotions, from calm and excited to sad, feeling empty, or irritable and unable to accept reality. While many mood swings are caused by outside circumstances, another significant factor that leads to such psychological states is our own inner selves. In other words, it's the thoughts and worries in our hearts. A classic example is when, living in a good situation, we suddenly worry about the future, fear illness and loneliness, leading to tears and inexplicable sadness. This case shows that our mood isn't always influenced by external factors, but internal thoughts and troubles can also be the cause. Or in another case, when we sit back and reminisce about the past, pondering situations we didn't respond to or act on adequately, which might have led others to misunderstand that we weren't strong or smart enough. When these memories return, anger starts to rise within us. This demonstrates that our thoughts and reflections on the past can also be the cause of unrest and strong emotional reactions. This isn't the influence of external factors, but the result of our own reflections and judgments on past events, stirring up negative emotions. Sometimes, no one is bothering or annoying us at all, yet we find reasons to be angry on our own. We sit and let our thoughts wander, thinking things like everyone wants to abandon us, or feeling like we're overworked, as if others are exploiting and taking advantage of our efforts. During such vulnerable moments, these very thoughts provoke anger within us. And then, someone who happens to cross our path at that moment might unjustly receive that anger. In the first scenario, our inner weakness makes us easily irritated by our own troubles. In the second, external circumstances trigger those with a predisposition to anger to react angrily to almost anything, even when things are going well. A person prone to anger might have grown up in an overly comfortable environment, unaccustomed to facing difficulties or adversity. Or it could be individuals with power, always obeyed by others, as well as those who have always succeeded without experiencing failure, who cannot tolerate contradiction. Another reason could be genetic. Our DNA carries not only the anger of our parents from the past, but also that of many generations before. If our parents had to endure wars, displacement, or work stress without paying attention to their moods, we would also be affected. If you notice your child at only 4 or 5 years old, already showing signs of anger, you know it's a consequence of either our generation or the one before. 2 effective mental states for anger management. The mind does not only perceive happiness, but also determines the extent of our suffering. Therefore, equipping ourselves with the skills and methods to understand and guide our minds towards positive things should start from a young age. We must confront and nurture it every day of our lives, especially before encountering temptations such as money, power, lust, or fame. There are 2 states when our minds are strong. The first is when we can control our minds, not letting it be swayed by external factors. In this state, our mind is truly powerful. The second is when we are in favorable circumstances, experiencing joy and success. Our mind also becomes strong. With such a strong mind, we are not easily angered by others' provocative words or actions. We can easily overlook, deem such things as trivial, or even accept them. However, in the second scenario, the strength derived from circumstances may pose a risk of becoming dependent on external conditions. But as long as you are wise enough, you can recognize and control this dependency. 3 strategies for managing anger. We often mention the butterfly effect, a concept proposed by Edward Lorenz, suggesting that the flap of a butterfly's wings in Japan could cause a major storm in New York. Thus, our anger could be even more powerful, combining with existing conditions to create an explosion as big as an earthquake somewhere, or a tsunami, or even the decision to drop an atomic bomb, may stem from the provocation of our own furious energy. Therefore, our practice of self-improvement is not just for ourselves, but for all humanity, for this planet. Every step we take on the ground, if filled with anger, could crack the earth and wither the plants. When we are near someone with the energy of anger, they feel their body heating up. Realizing this, we know we have the responsibility to change, to control it, not to let it harm ourselves or our loved ones. All the effort spent in building reputation, trust, and love with others can be wiped out by anger in an instant. So, what is the short-term solution when anger arises? The first step, when you feel anger, is to physically remove yourself from the situation or environment that's triggering that emotion. If possible, finding a quiet place to retreat and maintain absolute silence. Whether you're in a car or anywhere else, the key is to refrain from saying anything more, even if you feel wronged or believe the other person has a distorted perception. Reacting with angry energy only makes matters worse. The second step is to directly confront and observe your anger, noticing how it manifests, what inner triggers it wants to connect with, and what stage of development it's in, from its peak to its subsiding. Watch it without judgment, which requires practice and meditation to be able to see your emotion without hate or evaluation. The third step involves asking yourself questions to better understand your emotions. Am I angry? Why am I angry? The answers might help you identify the real cause of your anger and find ways to address it. Asking questions like, is this because my energy is weak? Or, am I being influenced by this negative emotion? And, can I embrace, welcome, or accept this negative emotion? Helps you to self-examine and face your feelings more profoundly. To smoothly apply these steps in managing anger, you need to engage in a long-term practice schedule. Specifically, living each day more slowly, observing your behavior and emotions. For instance, before you open a door, pause for a few seconds to listen to your breath and reassess your feelings before taking that action. Or, when about to use your phone, halt the rush to press buttons. Instead, spend time observing your emotions, your breathing, and consider whether your phone-holding posture is gentle. Such small practices cumulatively generate significant mindfulness energy. Then, negative influences from outside will struggle to penetrate your mind. Or if they sneak in while you're distracted, you'll have the strength to push them out or fully embrace them. Living in chaos without practice makes controlling anger difficult, and you won't be able to change yourself without starting with daily mindfulness practice. Only when desires, hatred, and ignorance disappear, when greed and opposition mindset are completely destroyed, is anger truly gone. When we reach a level of nirvana, recognizing that everything in the universe is a part of ourselves, loving others as we love ourselves, feeling their pain and happiness as our own, we no longer see ourselves as separate beings. At that point, there's no reason to oppose or be angry with others. Achieving this state, anger is no longer anger. It's just an impermanent phenomenon arising from a misunderstanding. Once that understanding is corrected and the energy transformed, there's no longer a place for anger to reside. It's the end of the video. Thank you for joining us today. And don't miss out on more videos from us by subscribing and turning on the notification bell icon.